Black people aren't locking ourselves out of opportunity and out of systems, right?
Absolutely.
And so it's, not necessarily about, what do Black people need as individuals to get ahead. We're not lacking in anything. We have all we need. Do system structures, corporations, decision makers need something that forces them to open up opportunities and, shift systems, shift incentives, and really share in opportunities that have been hoarded for generations? Absolutely. And so that is why it's, even beyond DEI, it's why it's important to make sure that we are protecting the civil rights progress that we have made and the accountability and the enforcement mechanisms that are in existence to make sure that opportunities are open and people are not systematically excluded and blocked.
So why do you think this is polarizing?
There's a long history in this country of people just not wanting Black people, right? And like full stop with a period at the end of the sentence. We're in a moment right now where it's not even, the right-wing attacks are not even just trying to send us back to Jim Crow. During Jim Crow, we were able to have institutions and do things for ourselves as Black people. We had Black schools, Black businesses, Black banks, right? And right now in this environment, they are attacking us, and the Fearless Fund fight, for example, is about us trying to help ourselves in this moment, and that is coming under attack. And so that's not necessarily what we experienced in Jim Crow. That's something else, right? That's sending us even further back to a system of exclusion where they are really trying to rid us from opportunity, from society in many different ways. And that is why the fight to hold corporations accountable, to make sure that government is protecting all of us and protecting all of our rights is even more important in this moment.
The difference between equity and equality. What do you say to that, Portia?
Equality is what for so long was the focus, and really, I guess I will say this first, that people tend to be okay with uneven outcomes so long as they believe that there is some opportunity to get to wherever it is people are trying to go. And that mindset and that framework has really been one of equality, where it's okay, I have something, you have something, we can both do something and get to the place. The pushback against equity is that critical interrogation as to whether the something I have and the something you have to access the opportunity is what we actually need to do so, right? In a way that can get us to the outcome. And there's this graphic that was circulating after around 2020 in the summer that illustrates the difference, right? And it's 3 kids trying to look over a fence, and one was
right.
very short and needed 1 box, right? The other really needed 2 boxes. Equality is the giving everybody the same thing. Equity, and why folks have been pushing so hard for it as the driver and as a strategy to equality of outcomes. Equality and equity are sisters, not twins, or cousins, I'm sorry, not twins. And you need equity as a strategy to get to the place where the playing field is level. We can't start assuming that everybody just needs the same thing and we'll get there. And that is, I think, what drives a lot of the backlash. Many folks don't want outcomes to actually be equal.
No, they don't.
And if I can just add, I think part of what the challenge is not necessarily with the terms, the problem, or anything else, but to the example of schools, when you're talking about solutions, part of the solution is redistribution. And that is where, right, this idea that people have that you're going to take what I have, forget what you had, is completely unearned and undeserved and mostly built of privilege and happenstance. But the idea that someone previously had something and now it's going to someone else, or now someone else needs to be at the table, is when you lay that on with just our racialized history here in the US, it does fuel a lot of resentment and backlash and all of the things. Doesn't mean we should bend a knee to these feelings prematurely or otherwise.
Yeah. Right. I want to focus in on the fact that America is losing its way, because there are so many benefits that we derive from diversity, equity, inclusion. It's called productivity, it's called innovation, it's called different points of view. Can you speak to that?
What the data does show is that everybody is better when,
It
black
impacts the
people do
bottom
better.
line. You
Yeah.
make more
Yes,
money.
that's right. That's right.
And the bottom line, even beyond money, right? No matter what the realm is, like when things are more inclusive, when things are more equitable, everybody is better. The like old saying, you know, a rising tide lifts all boats is real in this sense. And what the data doesn't show is that by making everybody better, some people are discriminated against and worse off, right? Like, and so we have to, you know, kind of parse through when we're thinking about, you know, benefits and thinking about, you know, who has what to gain. We all gain. And thinking of, you know, who, you know, has something to lose. Actually, nobody loses. Like, we all are gaining by being more inclusive. As we move back and, you know, as folks are with this neo-segregationist agenda that they're trying to push forward or trying to, you know, send us backwards, then we are all losing. And like there are some like clear decisions and choices that folks need to make in terms of what is acceptable. It shouldn't be acceptable. There should be consequences for corporations to announce, not just move silently away from commitments, but to make press releases, you know, and put out public statements and go on a media blitz around, you know, they're moving away from commitments that they profited off of in many ways, like post, you know, Floyd, right? And right now we're in a place where, you know, we have a lot of work to do in terms of building power and maintaining those benefits.